morning, guys. Happy Friday. If you're watching me live or on the same day, it's Friday, and welcome to this week's edition of Coffee Chat. Hey, Michelle. Hi, Mom. Yeah. And if you're watching this in the future, in the afternoon or the morning or the evening, hi. Hey, Robert. Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. So this week's edition of Coffee Chat I labeled It's Not for Pussies. Consciousness is not for pussies. It will, for you to claim, own, and acknowledge the power of your choice and to exercise that and put it into action and to trust the energy of what your choice will create takes a strength and a courage that is beyond anything I have ever experienced before. And I've heard, and the whole, hey Ross, consciousness is not for pussies. I got that from Shannon O'Hara. And Shannon O'Hara is, she created the whole Talk to the Anchies curriculum. She's the daughter of Gary Douglas, who is the founder of Access Consciousness. She's been choosing this, and that's what she says. Consciousness is not for pussies. And it's true. You have to own your shit, and you have to be vulnerable, and you have to trust. And Michelle, and this really came up hugely for me this summer with my horse. So back in July, I did talk about my horse injuring herself on another coffee chat. And I talked about how it all came together with me being able to get her to the vet clinic she needed to see for this surgery she needed, and she was able to get into the surgery, and everything like really showed up magically, actually, to get her into the surgery and into her recovery for her leg. Now, what came up after that, after I got her home and I was in charge of her recovery, what came up after that was really, really hard for me to stay in the question. It really tested my strength, and it tested my trust, and it tested my courage. Another thing I heard Shannon O'Hara say on, she does a monthly call called Club Consciousness, and I'm a part of it. And I mean, a monthly call with Shannon is like, my monthly kick in the boot camp to keep choosing. Anyway, she said, these weren't her exact words, but this was the basic energy of it. What if every single event, hey Shannon, what if every single event in your life, no matter what shows up, can turn into a gift or a miracle? And what if it is your judgment, the quicker you can get out of judgment of what is showing up, the faster the miracle or the gift can show itself. So with my horse, when I got her home after her surgery, she was good. I got her home. The swelling of the leg was increasing. She was extremely sore. In fact, for a period of time, I felt like she was worse than she was when I first brought her in. And I really, really struggled with that because I paid for the surgery, because of all these things, and she wasn't getting better. And it really tested me. And I had to, hey, Carmen, the question that I kept asking, I would destroy and create all the projections and expectations that I had of her, clearing the energy so I could get a sense of, and I would ask every day, truth, does she need to go back to the vet clinic? And I kept getting no, like the energy was telling me no. And then I started going into, well, what am I doing wrong? And starting to feel like really disappointed, actually, thinking I wasted all of this time and money on her, really going down that hole of judgment of myself, of everything. And it started to feel really terrible, and I had to constantly keep catching myself. and saying, no, Catherine, trust the energy, trust yourself. And the question that I always give people, like after you've taken any class with me, one thing that constantly reverberates in my universe is the change you're asking for never shows up like you think it will. So I had to keep asking, truth, with my horse and her leg, is this the change I've been asking for? Showing up in a totally different way than I could ever imagine. And it was always a yes. Truth, does the universe have my back? Yes. Okay. Truth, does my horse need to go back to the vet? No. I even tried phoning the vet to get her an appointment, and they were like, no, they actually pretty much told me, no, she probably doesn't need to see us. Like, this is just going to take time, etc. One of the things I was worried about was infection coming back in her leg after the surgery, but this was already like pretty post-surgery, and I would ask, like, truth, is this an infection? No. Okay, cool. How do we change this? Anyway, the questions ended up leading me to my really good friend, and I talked about Shauna in the other video. She started also helping me rehab the leg. She knows people. She knows information about horses and healing horses. And my mare also invited her to like claim, own, and acknowledge what she knows. So anyway, we've been doing different things and it started changing. But another piece is I actually had to get vulnerable and really consider, like, what if she doesn't ever come sound again? Like, for real, what if I cannot ride her? And what if she can't perform? What if she's no longer a performance horse? What would I choose? Like, I had to really consider that. Now, the last couple of years, I have been saying and telling myself that I've been wanting to buy a young horse. My next young horse prospect for dressage to follow in her footsteps. And I haven't chosen it yet. Didn't choose it. Now, finally getting vulnerable, okay, I might never be able to ride her again. What am I going to choose? Well, I'd probably breed her then. She's going to have babies for me. So where's the stallion? What stallion can I, is there anything in Canada? Like, where can I find this stallion? And I looked at the farms that I knew had stood dressage horses, and none of them really popped for me. Nothing was like, oh my God, that's the one. And then I saw a friend of mine post on Facebook that she had purchased a young horse from this farm in Ontario. And so I checked out this farm in Ontario, and they had this one stallion caught my eye. His name is Winton. He is very, very, he just really popped for me. Like, that was the one, that feeling. And I'm like, gonna breed to Winton. So I emailed the farm, like, just inquired, about breeding in 2023. And the lady got back to me very quickly, and she was like, yeah, we can totally, set him up for you, absolutely. And then it just really popped for me to ask if they had any weanlings for sale from this year, because they also breed their own mares to these stallions and they sell weanlings. And I kind of doubted that there would be any for sale, but I thought, why not ask, And so she got back to me and she's like, yes, there's 4 of them for sale actually. And she listed the first 3, and the last one, number 4, was a filly by Winton. The only one by Winton that was for sale still. And I thought, well, that's the one. And so I replied back, letting her know that I was very interested in number 4, and I asked her what the price would be. Knowing, I did some math, and I'm like, well, what was I willing to spend on this filly, If I breed my own mare, I'm waiting another year. And if, I happen to be riding her, I'm going to want to do like an embryo transfer. So kind of adding up the dollar amount of what that would cost. I'm like, I think I'd be willing to spend X amount of dollars on this filly, weanling filly that I could buy right now. That's alive and available, etc. She replied back, the same amount that I said I was willing to spend, like, to myself. And I thought, sweet Jesus, I guess I'm buying a horse. Now, so I got really excited. Her name is Stolen Dream, and yeah, and I told Travis about her, and my husband, he's actually like, yeah, let's do it. And we've actually been always wanting to travel through Canada. We've never traveled in our own country very much. I mean, we've gone to Alberta, BC, the mountains, Manitoba, but never to the east. So I'm like, let's take this and let's go on a road trip and pick her up. Do you think that'd be fun? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. So we're actually going to go the last part of October on a family road trip to the farm. I'm excited to see the place in person and meet the horses, meet the lady who owns her. Um, yeah, so that. And the kids are doing distance learning this year, so it's totally a doable thing with their school. I mean, they're not going to miss any school, and we're going to try to set it up so they don't have to do schoolwork on. Anyway, but the other piece, the other magical piece that I got when I actually talked to the owner on the phone, I really felt special. Like this filly, like I couldn't believe that this filly was still available for sale. Like I said, this farm sells foals in utero. That's how high of a demand they are. How is she still available? And when I was talking to the owner was telling me about the mare, the dam of this filly, and that she adores her so much and she's one of her favorites. And she had a hard time getting the mare in foal this season. And when she had a filly, she had decided that she was going to keep her for her own farm and add her to her mares for the future. But then she got to thinking, maybe I'm busy enough and maybe I don't need to have any more mares. So she literally just offered her to me, like in the email. Like the timing of it all was freaking phenomenal. And I was like, wow, that is magic. Um, and the other piece was like, another really magical piece was the money, right? I mean, I never usually let money stop me. If there's something I really, really desire, like I'll do whatever it takes to generate the cash to have it, which is what I was going to do with this filly. Hey, Annalise. And what happened? So after I had said, Kate, I'm very interested, blah blah, I talked to her on the phone. Like within days of that, Travis and I, we used to live in Turtleford on an acreage, and we've since moved back to his yard where he grew up, but we have subdivided that acreage, and a family has been living there for 6 years, and they've been wanting to purchase it for themselves, but they haven't been able to get a mortgage. They've been having to wait until their first house sold in the town of Turtleford before they could buy the acreage. Well, we get a phone call, like within 2 days of me choosing to purchase this filly, that they are ready to buy the acreage. And I was like, are you kidding me? Knock my socks off? What? And now Travis and I, we farm with my brother-in-law and his wife. We had been having conversations. Like when the acreage sells, we're going to use that, pay off some mortgages, and then take a certain amount of personal cash for fun for each family to, just choose something. Well, the amount of it has just worked out. The personal cash that we're getting from the sale that we're going to take as part of the acre sale is going to be enough to purchase the filly plus other more for Travis to use to buy himself something. And I'm like, I couldn't even make this up. Like the magic of it all just blows my mind. And now if I would have stayed in the energies of disappointment with my horse hurting her leg, if I would have stayed in making myself wrong, I could have been taking her for vet appointments and I could have wasted more money on not really changing something, because sometimes things are energetic. Sometimes things are energetic. And I'm not kidding you. After I found this filly and made the choice to purchase her and sent the down payment, the first down payment, my horse's legs started getting better. It started changing. She was walking better, starting to walk better. The swelling has gone down, and we started making progress in leaps and bounds to the degree where she was trotting yesterday, totally sound. The swelling is like 80% gone from her leg. And we're going to pick up this filly in October. Like, it just blows my mind. So that's where consciousness is not for pussies. In that, I had to really be strong and not go into judgment and not fall into the victim. My horse, the pasture that she hurt her leg in, she lived there for years, years, and she's never hurt herself before. She has done crazy shit to herself where I was sure she would have hurt herself before and she never has. This time she did. And what she stimulated was me actually making the choice for the thing that I've said I've been wanting to choose for the last couple of years, but I haven't yet. Wow. So consciousness is not for pussies. And the things that can come up when you are making a demand and saying that you want to change something, the universe, consciousness, whatever it is, will deliver to you the change. It has no judgment of how, and that's where you have to stay out of judgment with what is showing up. And those questions, truth, is this the change I've been asking for? Showing up in a totally different way than I could have ever imagined. Yes. Truth, does the universe have your back? Yes. Yeah, so you know what? If you're courageous and you are brave and you want to create some change, choose it. What else is possible? I'm doing some classes coming up. I'm actually going to start giving out disclaimer forms at my classes because what shows up for some people after a class is like, okay, hang on, here we go. We're going for the ride. Are you going to trust the energy? One lady's house got struck by lightning, like after her foundation class a few weeks, and that's really invited her to step up and change the things and choose the things, and yeah. So consciousness is not for pussies. That's this week's coffee chat. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And if you got anything out of this or you'd like to share it, I'd be grateful. Cheers. Have an amazing day wherever you are, whatever you are up to. Mwah. Bye-bye for now.